Thank you very much for attending the meeting with us. I am Joanne Su, and we are back with another interesting discussion. Sexual educations are different according to countries. So we have Mr. Limon from India, Ms. Ranita, representative Malaysia, Razia from Bangladesh to talk about their experience from their country. It's a really honor to have all of you here at our forum discussion titled Multifaceted Approach to Sexual Education Among Adolescents. Let's zoom into the first questions that many people are talking about. Mr. Lemon, what is sexual education and why is it important?
Thanks for inviting me to have such an interesting discussion along with Malaysia and Bangladeshi representatives. It's a great honor to me. Thanks and welcome all. Actually, sex education is a very important and time-demanding issue. It's an acquiring information about the development of our bodies, sexuality, and sexual behavior. But there is a common myth in our society, which is sexual education is only about sex. But the fact is, sex education covers a wide range of issues related to health, sexuality, safety, and gender norms, which are not just about sex. Sex education is important because, firstly, it helps people to gain information, skills, and motivation to make healthy decisions about sex and sexuality. Secondly, it teaches us about the variation in human bodies, how our bodies work, and the rights that we have over our body. Thirdly, it aims to prepare our young people for a healthy and preservable sexual and reproductive life, and also to prevent bullying, violence, unwanted pregnancies, and as well as sexually transmitted diseases.
Now I'm introducing myself, Rajia Kabir, as Bangladeshi representative. In my view, students get substantial sexual health education on a range of topics throughout the grades. In addition to parental and community support, it can help young people avoid any negative health consequences, disseminate sexuality and sexual health information, recognize the distinctions between positive and negative connections. Body autonomy is something to be aware of, valued, and experienced. Others' right to physical autonomy must be respected. Respect all people with decency and respect, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. Keep track of their academic accomplishments.
Ms. Ranita, sorry, why is there still a gap in sexual education in Malaysia?
Thank you for the question, Ms. Joanne. In Malaysia, the topic of sexuality is a taboo, but there are still reports indicating on the increment of this misbehavior of sexual activities among Malaysian teenagers. However, the Malaysian government has suggested introducing sexual education in school. Although evidence suggests that comprehensive approaches to sex education will prevent people from becoming sexually active, this idea is actually quite controversial since there are diverse opinions from various sides, including parents, teachers, students, public, and also the government. And most of them are concerned that by providing information on sex will lead to kind of like a curiosity, which will end up in like sexual experimentation. That's why sexual education, in my opinion, has been integrated at all levels, has to be integrated at all levels from individual, home, school, community, and as well as the government.
Coming back to Ms. Razia, what is the common scenario about sexual education in Bangladesh as compared to Malaysia?
To begin with, young people in Bangladesh have limited access to current information on their sexual and reproductive health rights. There is weakness in the enforcement, poor sexual literacy, wrong messages sent out on the media. Students were not fully educated about sexual and reproductive health in Bangladesh, since the school system fails provide authentic knowledge on the subject, than to other sources for this education. In Bangladesh, adolescents turn to cinemas, dramas that send out the wrong messages. Another scenario that is very common in Bangladesh is that if an individual is caught publicly involved in sexual activity, they won't be caught by enforcement or fined.
Okay, Mr. Lemon, coming to child marriage in India, what are your views about it?
Uh, Child marriage is another important issue, not only in India, but also in Southeast Asia, where children get married before their physical and mental maturity. And India has been practicing this over the centuries. According to the UNICEF, in India, at least 1.5 million girls under 18 years get married every year. And 16% of total girls aged 15 to 18 years are currently married. Due to this child marriage, early pregnancy and early childbirth occur, which lead to high maternal and infant mortality rate. Moreover, women who marry at younger age are more likely to experience domestic violence. Social and religious factors, lack of education, as well as poverty are the main causes behind it. Government is still trying hardly to overcome this. As example, previously, since 1978, the marriageable age was 14 years for girls and 18 years for boys. But in 2006, Prohibition of Child Marriage Act was implemented and minimum marriageable age limit were revised to 18 years for girls and 21 years for boys. But over the first 15 years, child marriage was declined by only 11%, which is less than 1% per year. But still, government and NGOs are trying to reduce it.
Miss Ranita, how about the child marriage in Malaysia? What are the legal age of child marriage?
In Malaysia, civil law, the legal age of marriage for non-Muslims is 18, although females aged 16 may get consent from the Menteri Besar. And for Muslim law, however, allows girls to marry at the age of 16 and boys at the age of 18. And the Sharia court basically will grant the permission to marry below those ages. And the practice of child marriage limits children's education's development, disempowering them from engaging meaningfully with the world at large. And child brides face harrowing medical risks, including sexually transmitted diseases, high infant mortality rates because they probably are anemic and they don't have enough iron levels, and also complications during pregnancy and childbirth that can also result in death. And from an economic perspective, child marriage often leaves children, especially girls, unable to learn new skills or earn an income. It is also put them at risk of domestic violence, sexual education, and persistent low household income that eventually affects the whole family. So it's quite sad to say that child marriage is still illegal in Malaysia.
Technology nowadays has brought substantial impact in our adolescents' lifestyle. How does technology impact the sexual education in Malaysia?
Uh, Technology nowadays has brought a rapid impact, especially negative impact on adolescents' lifestyles, behaviors, and sexual thoughts. Nowadays, the sex scene, sex advertising is everywhere, and as well as the pornography. A boy or a girl can access pornography with a few clicks, and this could give the teenagers a wrong information about sex and about how sex works. The wrong information that they get from the pornography may lead to the major problems, including sexually transmitted diseases, abnormal sexual behaviors, and even violence. So the parents must be aware about their children, especially how they are using internet or what they are browsing. They must show their children the proper way of using technology, not to abuse technology. But in your community, unfortunately, very few parents are concerned about technology using.
Miss Razia, what are the ways that sexual education among adolescents can be improved?
A comprehensive, multifaceted approach needs to be developed and implemented for families and communities to raise awareness of the negative consequences of early marriage. Stakeholders should constantly advocate against child marriage because of its negative impact on the physical and psychological health of adolescent girls, with the aim of eradicating this practice altogether. It takes everyone to work together, especially for the young generations, to prevent the consequences of unwanted pregnancies.
And thanks, Ms. Razi. I also have something to add on. The awareness campaign should involve community and religious leaders so that they can better understand the need to instill sexual education among adolescents. And when designing a new program or making any changes to an existing one, it is so vital to account for Malaysia's social, multicultural, and also religious norms and sensitivities. And among the poor communities, once the leaders are well aware about the importance of sexual education, then they are able to influence the community to think the same way as them. So leaders play a very important role. Specifically, community leaders play a role in this multifaceted approach as well.
Ranita, I want to add something. Then that is in March 2018, World Health Organization published a guideline of comprehensive sexual education. The key feature of comprehensive sexual education are human development, including reproduction, puberty, sexual orientation, and gender identity, relationships, including families, friendships, and romantic relationships, sexual behaviors and sexual health, including sexually transmitted diseases, contraception, and pregnancy, society and culture, including gender roles, diversity, and sexuality in the media. Sex education may take place in schools, communities, and even through online. Planned parenthood is very important, and it may play the central and vital role in delivering sex education. So finally, we need to move beyond all the taboos and acknowledge the importance of sex education to ensure a safer future for our younger ones. Thanks. Thank you.
That was a great and profitable discussion. In conclusion, I think that sex education should start as early as possible in a child's life cycle. Other than that, it takes multidisciplinary approach from parents, teachers and peers and government to advocate adolescents regarding sex education. I would like to thank everyone for being a part of the discussion. Thank you, Mr. Limon, Ms. Ranita, Ms. Razia, wholeheartedly for sharing all of your important insight into providing substantial details about sex education. Thank you very much once again. Have a wonderful day.